Unpopular opinion. I truly think the 2024 KTM 450 EXC-F is the most useless bike that KTM makes. So, that being said, this is my 2024 KTM 450 EXC-F.
Hear me out. For most people, a 350 would do everything this 450 does and do it better. It would feel lighter, more versatile, it would have plenty of power.
Most people, me included, would probably be faster around an enduro track on a 350. So why on earth did I buy this 450 then? What do I plan to do with it? Why a 450 and not a 500 or a 350? Why a KTM and not a Gas or Husqvarna? What about the reliability of the keep-taking money machine? Many more questions will be asked and many more shall get an answer.
The story of this bike actually started back in August last year, when my Husqvarna 701 decided to blow a gasket and cause the engine to fail on the second stage of the Denaric Rally. Day 2 DNF.
I really didn't want this, but well, it's going so well so far.
At that moment I was left with time to think, to contemplate. And I realized that if I want to be more serious about rallies, I need a rally bike, not a dual sport with rally fairings.
So that's when the 450 idea was seeded into my brain, and fast forward to December last year, I took delivery of this brand new 2024 pumpkin. So yeah, that's why. Because I wanted to do more rallies and I want to approach a screw with a screwdriver rather than a hammer. Speaking of hammers, one thing that will take a hit or two, 100, is this video sponsor, Ramex Parts. This is a company started by two good friends of mine.
And they're designing and producing top-notch aluminium protection items for your KTMs, Huskies and gases.
From radiator guards, engine protectors, disc guards, levers and many more, they have also helped me outfit my bike with all the necessary components to make it ready to race. All parts are heavily tested both in the field and in controlled environments. Trust me, I helped film some of those tests. If you're interested in sleek-looking protection for your bike, make sure to use the link in the description to get an additional 10% discount. But yeah, back to the video.
Got it, so it's a rally thing. But then why not go for a 500? Or a 350 for that matter? Well, I discounted the 350 because I didn't need an all-purpose motorcycle. I just needed a rally bike.
And the thing is, when I do decide to take on some desert rallies, the extra grunt of the 450 will come in more than handy. But then, compared to the 500, its bigger brother, the 450 revs quicker. It's peaky, lively. And I like that in a bike, to feel quick to rev and move around.
If this bike was a Lamborghini, the 450 is closer to an Urus than to their tractor division. Basically, I chose the engine I really wanted, and this is a tougher choice than one might think.
Look, for European rallies, most people don't need the power of a 450. And this bike is a bit two-sided in that sense, because it's both relaxing to ride and fatiguing at the same time, and the culprit is the same. Its engine.
I have no idea how much power it puts out. My butt dyno says it's more than enough. In reality, it doesn't really matter. On one hand, it can fatigue you quickly if you don't ride it properly. For the first time in years, I nearly whiskey throttled the bike on a track. And well, I'm not really that much of a beginner any longer.
You see, this amount of power can really bite you, especially if you end up really tired and start riding it the wrong way. With the wrong technique, I think this bike becomes more of a killer the more it gets ridden. If anything, having good riding technique is crucial to be able to properly control it while riding fast.
But at the same time, it can be easier to ride than a 350, simply because you don't have to change gears as much, no energy wasted. And sure, you might say that who cares about the energy of changing gears?
But when you ride for 8 or more hours a day, for days or weeks at a time, every little drop of energy counts.
That's the thing, if you ride the 450 EXC-F like you should, not putting around with proper form, it can be easy on your body. But as soon as you let your guard down, it can also bite.
There's some crusty
That's why, in my view, this is a race bike that's meant to be, well, raced. That being said, how much did KTM pay me to make this video? Nothing. Look, for me the choice between a KTM, Husky and GasGas was simple.
I wanted a new suspension, and so the GasGas had to go. I also really preferred Brembos over Bratex, so the Husky had to go too. Simple, right? And briefly, I did think of a Sherco, but no matter how good these bikes would be, Sherco, Beta, Fantic, whatever else, there is one simple reason why I never seriously thought about them.
They're just not popular enough. Last year at the Denaric Rally, I learned how important parts availability can be in a rally. So I wanted something common. Look, in the paddock, I can just turn around and have people throw KTM parts at me. For Honda or Beta, yeah, good luck with that.
But KTM is unreliable, so of course you need spare parts.
Sorry for the impression, but I can already hear some people say that. And it's a good point, but not in the sense that you might think.
You see, I think a lot of people tend to overlook this, but these days, this Austrian group of bikes are super easy to work on for general maintenance. Everything makes sense, from their twin-headed bolts that make stripping screws a thing of the past,
to the ease of access to the air filter, or how painless it is to change the oil. All things that you need to do often in rallies.
They engineered and designed these machines to be accessible for servicing, and I don't think many people realize that.
With other brands, even with my beloved Sherco, there's always a quirk, something that makes your life a bit harder. Not with this KTM though. Plus, just look in the paddock of a rally. Do you really think the reason 95% of bikes are orange-blooded is because people want to spend top dollar for hunks of junk?
In reality, in this world, the Austrians have gathered a pretty good reputation. The days of keep taking money slogans are well over.
Now watch me blow my engine again or something. Stupid at the first rally. Hopefully not.
I know I made mistakes, I know I lied. I should have noticed, yeah, I should have tried. And all the love that I just ignored, I'm gonna revive it, I'm gonna revive it.
Where their reputation was severely lacking was in the suspension department. Look, ever since their 2017 open cartridge experiment, KTM forks have been underwhelming. It's not a secret, basically everyone else had a better stock suspension.
Heck, it was one of the main reasons I chose a Sherco back in the day as my hard enduro bike. With the 2024 models, things changed. And from my riding so far, it seems like all their previous sins can be forgotten, because this closed cartridge suspension is amazing for fast riding.
For enduro, for rallies, even in fully stock form, it's really incredibly compliant, stable. I love it. And I don't think I'll ever have to do anything to it other than a service here and there.
One thing you will notice with a KTM, with any KTM, is that the rear suspension does not have a linkage. It's a system called PDS, which has some real advantages, like its simplicity. It's more hidden away, less likely to hit stuff, and easier to service.
If you go online, people will be quick to tell you to stay away from it. It's not as stable at speed, just get a linkage bike from other manufacturers and all of that fun stuff. And technically, they might be right, but realistically, I think all that talk is horseshit.
The thing is, I think 99% of people just talk from what they read online, not from their own experience. I bet if I blindfolded you and made you ride the bike, you'd have no clue if it was a PDS or linkage. If you don't ride two identical setups, one after the other, one PDS and one linkage, I don't think us, regular humans, could tell the difference. Like, ever. And you know what? If Tobias Epster could dominate European rallies on a stock KTM...
If that was more than fine for him, I think we should be good too. Yeah, I'm fanboying a bit. And of course I would. I bought it with my hard-earned cash. Now, this doesn't mean it's perfect though, because it has faults.
For one, I don't like how heavy the clutch pull is. I don't like that KTM hides away the standard quickshifter after a stupid remote purchase.
I don't like the smaller radiator cap that makes you break your fingers every time you want to unscrew it. Seriously, who designed that?
Speaking of design, I love how they designed the fuel pump not to pull gas from the lowest point of the tank. Yeah, there's a chance that you can go, your bike runs out of fuel, while still having fuel in the tank. Fun stuff.
Also in typical KTM fashion, as far as stock equipment goes, you get handguards. Yeah, that's it. You still need to purchase even the most basic items like a skid plate.
But for that, for my full setup, make sure to check out the next video where I'll go in depth on how I set up my rally machine, with all the small details that you might not know about that might save you. You see, I mentioned the 450 being the most useless bike the Austrians make. And maybe that's misleading, because what I actually mean is, in my opinion, there are a small couple of niches that the 450 really does best at.
That's exactly why I got mine, because I want to ride more of such niche. What is it, you might be wondering? Well, it's rally. It's the only discipline for which the 450 made more sense to me.
And then, you know, we can sit for days on end, dwelling on decisions. This friend says get a 350, the internet says that nothing lesser than a 500 will do. Your parents say that anything more than a 125 will kill you.
Second hand, new, barely used, so many decisions to be made. But at the end of the day, it's about buying what we truly like, what we want, what will make us happy.
In my case, since I could afford it, I really wanted a brand new bike. I wanted to know its history all the way from 0 hours. I wanted the manufacturer from the KTM group for their parts availability.
I wanted good brakes and suspension. I wanted a complete package, and for me personally, the 2024 KTM 450 EXC-F represented that.
Oh, and during this video you've seen a lot of clips of the 6 days edition. At retail price I think that's a ripoff, but that's another discussion.
So what's next for the 450? Other than maybe a small enduro cross race here and there, this year I plan on doing the Hellas Rally and the Denark Rally on it. We'll see how it goes, but see you guys there. Cheers.